Hello there, and welcome to the Healing Insight channel. Today we're stepping into the astonishing world of dinosaurs, creatures so diverse and so successful that they are still shaping life on Earth today. These were not just the monsters we see in movies. They were parents and hunters, travelers and survivors, each one adapted to a specific way of living. Some were built to thunder across open plains. Others were shaped for careful feeding, social display, or patient ambush. Their bodies tell stories of strength, speed, intelligence, and change. Dinosaurs were not all giants, and they were not all the same. They came in countless forms, from feathered runners to armor-plated tanks, from long-necked browsers to sharp-eyed predators. Their bones preserve moments of struggle, growth, care, and endurance. Even now, their legacy lives on, written into the science that continues to uncover their lives. If you enjoy these gentle journeys, I invite you to like, subscribe, or share a thought below. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. For now, there is nothing you need to do. Let your breathing slow, let your body soften, and allow your thoughts to settle. And join me on this epic journey as we explore this prehistoric world together. Let's begin. Dinosaurs ruled Earth for over 160 million years. That span is so vast that it can be hard to wrap your head around. Imagine a world where entire groups of animals rise, spread, change, and disappear while dinosaurs keep going. They lived through eras when seas advanced over continents and then pulled back again. They witnessed forests shift, deserts expand, and coastlines redraw themselves. In that long reign, dinosaurs did not stay the same. They diversified into sprinters, giants, grazers, diggers, and hunters. Their bodies reshaped as environments changed and new species kept arriving like new chapters. When you picture a dinosaur, you are picturing a moment from an immense timeline. Their story lasts long enough for evolution to try countless experiments and for success to be measured across deep time. Birds are living dinosaurs, and they never truly went extinct. If you watch a bird hop across a garden, you are seeing a survivor from an ancient lineage. The link is not a poetic idea. It is written in bones and behavior. Many birds have wishbones like their dinosaur relatives. Their ankles and toes match the same basic plan. Nests, brooding, and parental care echo patterns seen in fossils. Feathers did not appear out of nowhere either. They belong to a much older story that began before birds took to the air. This means extinction did not close the dinosaur chapter. It narrowed it. A single branch endured and then flourished, filling skies and forests with new species. That everyday bird calls back to a world of claws, crests, and long shadows without needing a time machine. Dinosaurs were not lizards. Their limbs stood upright like ours. That posture changed everything about how they moved through the world. Instead of sprawling legs that push outward, their hips and knees lined up under the body. This makes walking and running more efficient, and it frees the lungs and ribs from being crushed with each step. It also opens the door to bigger sizes because the skeleton can stack weight in a stronger column. You can picture it with a simple contrast. A crocodile must drag itself forward with a heavy belly close to the ground. Many dinosaurs could stride with the body lifted, the steps longer, and the head carried higher. That stance helped some become fast pursuers, while others became steady travelers. Small bodies can hide, dart, and exploit food sources that giants cannot. A tiny dinosaur could chase insects through undergrowth, snatch small prey, or slip away from danger in a burst of speed. Small size also means rapid generations, which can drive fast evolutionary change. Some of these animals likely lived in the shadow of larger species, surviving by being hard to notice. Their fossils are rarer, not because they did not exist, but because delicate bones break and scatter more easily. When a small skeleton is found, it can reshape what we think a dinosaur community looked like. It adds texture. Dinosaurs were not only kings of the landscape, many were nervous, alert, and busy, living fast lives in the margins where the world is crowded and unpredictable. Tyrannosaurus rex could bite with bone-crushing power. That bite was not just about sharp teeth, it was a whole system built for force. The skull was reinforced, the jaws were deep, and the muscles anchored to broad surfaces that could pull with tremendous strength. The teeth were thick and robust, more like spikes than thin blades, which helps when you are pushing into hard material. Fossils from other animals sometimes show deep punches and damaged bone that match the size and spacing of those teeth. That kind of evidence suggests a predator that could break through tough parts others might avoid. A bite like that changes the rules of a hunt. It can turn a struggle into a sudden collapse. It can also open meals that include marrow and other rich resources. This is why Tyrannosaurus still feels shocking. It was not only a hunter, it was built to dominate the very structure of its prey. Many dinosaurs grew fast, reaching adult size in surprisingly few years. That speed of growth is one of the great surprises hidden inside fossil bones. Under a microscope, some dinosaur bones show textures linked to rapid deposition, which hints at bodies building themselves quickly. In practical terms, fast growth is a strategy for survival. A young animal that can bulk up sooner spends less time as an easy target. It also means populations can rebound after hard seasons because juveniles reach breeding age earlier. Growth was not identical across all dinosaurs, and that variety is part of the wonder. Some may have surged upward in size like teenagers in a growth spurt. Others likely followed steadier paths. Scientists can also look for lines in bone that mark slowdowns, which can reflect stress, illness, or scarce food. Each skeleton becomes a biography in mineral form. It tells us that dinosaurs were not slow, sluggish creatures. Many were dynamic, fast-developing animals. Dinosaurs lived on every continent, even ancient polar landscapes. That includes places we now imagine as impossible for dinosaurs. Polar regions in the dinosaur era could be milder than today, yet they still faced long periods of winter darkness. Fossils from high latitudes show that dinosaurs were present and active there, not just passing through. Living in such regions would have demanded resilience, whether through seasonal movement, social behavior, or bodies adapted to cooler conditions. It also changes how we picture their range. Dinosaurs were not confined to one kind of habitat. They occupied river plains, coastal areas, forests, and far northern or southern lands. Their footprints and bones appear in rocks across the globe, which tells the story of success on a planetary scale. When you think of a dinosaur in the polar night, you start to feel how flexible these animals were. They were not just built for a single postcard landscape, they belonged everywhere. Fossil footprints capture moments like herds crossing mud at sunrise. A footprint is a direct touch from the past, pressed into soft ground and then saved by luck and geology. Unlike bones, tracks can show behavior in action. They can reveal a turn, a pause, a stumble, or a sudden change of speed. Some trackways run side by side for long distances, which suggests group movement across open ground. Others show a single animal pacing along a shoreline, leaving repeated steps that tell you its size and rhythm. Tracks can also preserve details like toe splay and claw marks, which helps identify what kind of dinosaur made them. They are not just impressions, they are evidence of decision. A trackway can show where an animal chose to go, what terrain it avoided, and how it moved through its world. When you stand beside dinosaur tracks, you are standing beside a frozen walk. A single asteroid impact helped end their age and reshape life. The drama of that event is hard to overstate. An impact releases energy in an instant that the planet then spends years absorbing.
Dust and aerosols can spread through the atmosphere, blocking sunlight and cooling the surface. Food webs that rely on plants begin to fail, and the effects ripple upward through ecosystems. The extinction at the end of the Cretaceous did not erase everything, but it removed many dominant forms and opened space for survivors to diversify. It is also a reminder that life on Earth is shaped by forces far beyond biology. Geology, climate, and cosmic chance can all steer evolution. The asteroid did not simply end an era, it reset possibilities. In the aftermath, the world became a different stage with different winners. The dinosaurs' long reign makes that ending feel tragic, yet their story also teaches resilience. Life continues even after the sky changes. Feathers evolved before flight, first serving warmth and display. At first, feathers were not tickets to the sky, they were tools for living. A soft coat can trap heat close to the skin, which matters when nights turn cold or seasons shift. Feathers can also turn the body into a signal. Color and shape can announce confidence, health, or readiness to compete, all without a single bite. Picture a small dinosaur lifting its arms and fluffing a feathery fringe. Suddenly, it looks larger, bolder, harder to ignore. In a world where attention can decide who mates and who misses out, display is powerful. Feathers also work like touch-sensitive senses. They can help an animal feel wind, brush, and movement around the body. Long before true flight, feathers were already doing important jobs, and evolution was quietly building the materials for a later miracle. Many dinosaurs likely had colorful patterns like modern birds. Color is not just decoration, it is information carried on skin, scales, and feathers. In living animals, patterns can hide you in shadows, break up your outline in tall grass, or advertise that you are strong enough to take risks. Dinosaurs almost certainly played the same games. Think of a forest edge where light flickers through leaves. A striped body can vanish in that moving pattern. Now think of a crowded breeding ground. A bright crest or a bold patch can help you stand out among rivals and help your own species recognize you instantly. Even without perfect knowledge of every dinosaur's palette, the logic of evolution points toward color as a constant pressure. Predators benefit from camouflage, and social animals benefit from clear signals. A dinosaur world in full color feels more real and far more alive than the gray stone we often imagine. Some dinosaurs had hollow bones, built for strength without heaviness. It sounds fragile, yet it is a brilliant piece of engineering. Hollow bones are not empty sticks. They can have internal struts and braces that resist bending and twisting. In modern birds, that design helps the body stay strong while staying light. In many dinosaurs, lighter bones could make movement cheaper, faster, and more agile. It could also allow longer limbs and larger bodies without wasting material. When paleontologists find these bones, they are seeing an animal built with efficiency in mind. Weight matters because every step costs energy. A lighter frame can mean longer journeys, quicker escapes, and more stamina during a chase. It is a reminder that dinosaurs were not only about raw size. Some were shaped by the same pressure that shapes a well-built bridge. Use less material, and still carry the load. Air sacs in their bodies made breathing far more efficient. Breathing is not just filling lungs, it is delivering oxygen to muscles and removing the waste that builds fatigue. In many dinosaurs, air sacs likely helped move air through the respiratory system in a steady stream that can keep oxygen levels high during activity, and it can help the body shed heat. It also changes how the body is built. Air sacs can lighten parts of the skeleton and open space inside the torso. For an active predator, that efficiency can mean longer pursuit without burning out. For a giant herbivore, it can mean supplying a massive body with enough oxygen to keep it moving. This kind of breathing system suggests animals that could do more than shuffle. It hints at endurance, alertness, and a level of athletic ability that surprises people who still picture dinosaurs as slow. Their bodies were tuned for power that could last. Dinosaurs laid eggs, but some also guarded nests tenderly. An egg is a promise, and it is also vulnerable. The world is full of hungry mouths, sudden floods, and temperature swings that can ruin a clutch in minutes. Nesting behavior is one way to push back against that risk. A guarded nest means fewer losses, and it can mean better timing for hatching. Some dinosaurs likely chose nesting sites with care.
They may have picked higher ground, sheltered spots, or places where many adults could watch for danger. For a listener, it changes the emotional picture. These were not only creatures of teeth and thunder, they were also animals investing in a future they might not live to see. That investment is one of the oldest stories in nature. When you imagine a dinosaur returning to a nest, you are seeing the same drive that fills forests and shorelines today. Fossils show brooding adults sitting over eggs like birds. In some fossil finds, an adult is preserved directly atop a nest in a posture that looks heartbreakingly familiar. The body is positioned as if it was shielding eggs beneath it. That arrangement is hard to explain as accident because it matches what living birds do when they brood. Brooding is more than guarding, it is control. An adult can regulate warmth and protect eggs from wind and sudden chill. It can also deter scavengers that would steal an egg and vanish. This behavior also hints at patience. Sitting still for long stretches takes time and discipline, and it suggests a life built around more than feeding and fighting. It also creates a scene you can almost hear, a quiet nesting ground, the scrape of shifting limbs, and the steady presence of an adult that chooses to stay. Fossils like this are rare gifts. They preserve care, not just bones. Some hatchlings walked soon after birth, ready to follow. Imagine breaking free of an eggshell into a world that can kill you quickly. For some dinosaurs, the best defense may have been mobility from the start. If a hatchling can stand, walk, and keep up, it can move with a group and avoid being left behind. It can reach food, shelter, and safer ground before a predator finds it. That early readiness also hints at a different kind of parenting. A mobile baby may need less feeding in the nest, but it needs guidance, protection, and a route to follow. The first hours of life would be a race between weakness and learning. Tiny legs finding balance, eyes adjusting to light, the pull of instinct that says, "Stay close." It is a dramatic way to enter the world, and it makes dinosaur childhood feel immediate and vivid. Not all young were helpless, some were built for action. Other young stayed longer, protected and fed by parents. For other dinosaurs, the safer strategy may have been the opposite. Stay close, grow stronger under watchful care. In that plan, the nest becomes a home base. Parents can bring food, defend the area, and keep threats at a distance. The young gain time to develop coordination, strength, and the instincts they will need later. This kind of care can shape social life. If parents invest heavily, then family bonds matter. Dinosaur nests can appear in clusters, hinting at colonies. A single nest is a story, a field of nests is a society. When many nests occur together, it suggests a place that was chosen again and again, and perhaps shared at the same time. Colonies can offer safety in numbers. Many eyes spot danger sooner, and a predator that approaches one nest may face a wall of adults. Colonies can also help with timing. When many eggs hatch around the same period, the chance of any one youngster being taken can drop because there are simply too many targets. A colony site also hints at tradition. Animals can return to successful places guided by memory, scent, or the shape of the land. There is also competition because neighbors mean crowded space and constant negotiation. Clustered nests paint dinosaurs as more than solitary giants.
They suggest a landscape filled with repeated lives, repeated seasons, and repeated choices, all centered on the urgency of new life. Eggshell pores reveal how warm and humid nests once were. An eggshell is not just protection, it is also a breathing surface. Tiny pores allow gases to pass, so an embryo can take in oxygen and release carbon dioxide. The number and structure of those pores can hint at the nest environment because different settings demand different airflow. A buried nest needs different pore patterns than an exposed nest, since packed soil changes how gases move. A humid nest behaves differently than a dry one because moisture affects how easily air circulates.
When scientists study fossil eggshells, they are reading a small but powerful clue about parenting style and habitat. It is like finding the ventilation plan of a vanished nursery. That is astonishing because it turns a fragment of shell into a window on behavior. The nest is no longer just a guess, it becomes a place with conditions, choices, and consequences. Even the tiniest holes can tell a story across deep time. The oldest named dinosaur fossils were described in the 1840s. In the early 19th century, a few strange bones began to look like more than scattered curiosities. Naturalists were learning how to compare anatomy across animals, and they were starting to trust deep time. When researchers described and named some of the first dinosaurs in the 1840s, it was like opening a door in a wall nobody knew existed. Suddenly, there was a new category of life, older than any human story and far larger than the imagination allowed. Those first names were not just labels, they were an announcement that the rocks held whole worlds. It also sparked a new kind of detective work. Fossils were no longer isolated marvels. They became evidence in a bigger argument about how the past was built layer by layer, and her life could change across ages. The word dinosaur means terrible lizard, though it misleads. The name has drama, and it helped the idea catch fire. Yet it points the mind in the wrong direction. Many dinosaurs were not close to the animals we usually call lizards, and plenty of them were not terrible in any simple sense. Some were small, quick, and wary. Some lived by nibbling plants and keeping out of trouble. Even the largest were not monsters by choice. They were animals with jobs to do, like finding food, avoiding danger, and raising young. The label also hides how varied they were. A single word tries to cover a parade of body plans, lifestyles, and behaviors that can feel as different as whales and wolves. The misfit name is a useful reminder. Our first impressions can be shaped by language, and the fossils often demand a better story than the words we started with. The first dinosaur tooth was mistaken for a giant reptile. Imagine finding a single tooth with no skeleton, no tracks, and no context beyond the stone that held it. Early scientists did what all good thinkers do. They compared it to what they knew. A big tooth suggested a big animal, and big reptiles were an easy answer in a world still learning how strange the past could be. The mistake was not foolish. It was a sign that the evidence was outrunning the imagination. One tooth can be deceiving because teeth evolve similar shapes in very different creatures that eat similar foods. Over time, more bones appeared and patterns began to link together. That lonely tooth stopped being an oddity and became a clue in a growing case. It is a beautiful moment in science. A wrong guess becomes a stepping stone, and the stone itself still holds the tooth that started the confusion. Dinosaur bones helped launch modern paleontology as a true science. Once dinosaur fossils entered public view, they demanded careful methods. You could not understand them by folklore or wishful thinking. You needed anatomy, geology, and disciplined comparison. Each new skeleton forced researchers to ask where it came from in the rock record, how old that layer might be, and what kind of environment once covered it. Museums began to treat fossils as more than trophies. They became research collections with notes, maps, and measurements that could be checked. Rivalries pushed people to dig faster, but they also pushed ideas forward. Public fascination helped too, because crowds wanted to see the giants and funding followed attention. In that mix, paleontology matured. It learned to test claims against evidence and to revise stories when new finds disagreed. Dinosaurs became a proving ground for scientific habits, and the habits outlasted every argument about which creature was biggest or fiercest. Early museum mounts often used wrong poses, dragging tails low. When the first big skeletons were assembled, scientists and artists had to invent a posture for animals nobody had seen alive. They often leaned on familiar images like large reptiles, and those bodies seemed to sprawl and sag. So museum dinosaurs were posed like heavy furniture, with tails trailing on the ground as if they were extra legs. Visitors loved them, and the mounts shaped popular imagination for generations. Yet the pose also built a quiet misunderstanding. A tail dragged through dirt leaves marks, strains joints, and steals energy from movement. As more complete skeletons appeared, and as trackways gave hints about balance, the old posture began to look wrong.
That shift is part of the fun of dinosaur history. Even the way a skeleton stands can be a scientific claim. Museums are not only display halls, they are changing textbooks built from bone. Later discoveries showed tails held high for balance. A tail is not an afterthought, it is a counterweight, a steering tool, and a key part of how the body stays stable. When paleontologists examined joints, muscle attachment scars, and the stiffness of tailbones, a lifted tail began to make much more sense. It places the body's weight over the hips, which supports longer strides and quicker turns. It also matches what you would expect from an animal that needs to move without scraping half its body across the ground. Trackways add to that picture because many sets of footprints do not include tail drags. The result is a livelier animal with a posture that looks ready. It changes the whole silhouette. A predator becomes a runner, not a crawler. A herbivore becomes an efficient traveler, not a plodding beast. A raised tail is a small detail that transforms how dinosaurs feel in motion. New scanning finds fossils still hidden inside solid rock. Sometimes the most exciting discovery is not in a desert cliff, but inside a block already sitting in a lab. Modern scanning can peer through stone without breaking it apart. It can reveal bones killed inside, delicate structures, and even outlines that would crumble if exposed too soon. This changes the pace of discovery. A fossil can be studied while it is still protected, and preparation can be planned with far more care. It also lets scientists ask new questions. They can examine internal spaces, track fractures, and spot tiny details that a chisel might miss. In some cases, scanning uncovers a surprise that no one suspected was there, like a hidden skull or a cluster of bones from a second animal. It's like turning on a light in a sealed room. The rock stops being a wall, it becomes a window, and the past becomes sharper without being harmed. Tiny bone rings record growth like tree rings. Inside many bones, there can be repeating markers that hint at pauses and spurts in development. These patterns form as growth slows, then resumes, often in step with seasons, food supply, or stress. When specialists slice bone thin enough to see light pass through it, they can read those markers and estimate how an animal's body changed year by year. This is not a simple counting game. Different bones record different parts of life, and remodeling can erase earlier chapters. That is why the work is careful and cautious. Still, when the evidence is clear, it can turn a fossil into a life history. You can sense years of plenty, then years of hardship. You can see whether growth was steady or dramatic or interrupted by illness. A dinosaur stops being only a shape and a name. It becomes an individual that lived through changing days. Chemical clues in teeth can reveal seasons of stress. Teeth grow in layers, and those layers can lock in chemical signals from the body. When conditions shift, the chemistry can shift with them. A dry season, a harsh winter, or a period of poor food can leave a trace that remains long after the animal is gone. Researchers can sample along the length of a tooth to build a timeline, almost like reading a slow recording of life. The details matter because different chemical ratios can reflect changes in diet quality, growth strain, or environmental conditions. This kind of work can hint at patterns that bones alone cannot show. It can suggest when an animal struggled, when it recovered, and whether hard times arrived on a regular schedule. It also makes dinosaurs feel closer. Stress is not abstract, it is hunger, fatigue, and risk. In a single tooth, you can sometimes sense the pressure of a bad season and the relief when it finally eased. Fossilized skin impressions show scales in intricate pebbled mosaics. Bones tell you the frame, but skin tells you how the animal met the air and the world. In rare conditions, a dinosaur's outer covering pressed into fine sediment and left an imprint that hardened over time. These impressions can show patterns that looked like a careful mosaic, with small scales arranged in repeating textures. Some areas can be tighter and finer. Other areas can be larger and more rugged, depending on how the skin needed to flex or resist wear. Seeing this detail changes the mental image instantly. Dinosaurs stop being smooth, featureless statues. They become animals with surfaces, with grip, with protection, with a look shaped by daily life. Skin impressions also help artists and scientists avoid lazy guesses, and they remind everyone how much of an animal is usually lost.
When a patch of skin survives, it feels like a direct handshake across time, intimate and astonishingly real. Some dinosaurs had armor plates like living shields. Picture an animal that cannot outrun trouble, so it carries protection everywhere it goes. Armored dinosaurs turned skin into defense with bony plates embedded like tiles beneath the surface. Over the back and flanks, those plates could blunt teeth, deflect claws, and make a bite far less rewarding. Armor also changes how predators think. A hunter may circle looking for a softer angle, and that hesitation can be the difference between escape and disaster. Some armor patterns are so distinctive that you can almost recognize the animal from a single plate, like a fingerprint in stone. And there is a hidden cost. Carrying heavy defenses demands strong muscles and steady energy. So these dinosaurs were built like tanks with steady, powerful legs. Armor is not just a feature, it is a lifestyle, shaped by constant pressure from a dangerous world. Ankylosaurs carried tail clubs that could shatter bone. If you were a predator stalking an ankylosaur, the business end was not the mouth, it was the tail. In some species, the tail ended in a hard, heavy knob made of fused bone. That club sat at the end of a stiffened tail that could swing like a bat, driven by powerful hips and body weight. One well-timed strike could break a leg, and a broken leg can be a death sentence for a hunter that must chase to eat. The club was also a warning. It said, "Do not rush in, and do not assume size is safety." This weapon is fascinating because it is defensive, not predatory. It is built to end a fight quickly and to change the balance of fear. A creature that looks slow becomes suddenly dangerous, and danger has a way of earning respect. Stegosaurus plates may have helped with display or heat. Those tall plates are some of the most recognizable shapes in natural history, and they still raise a wonderfully simple question. Why build something so dramatic on your back? One possibility is display. Plates could make an animal look larger, more impressive, and easier to spot across distance. That matters in a world where finding a mate, holding territory, or warning rivals can decide your future. Another possibility is temperature control. Plates are filled with channels that could carry blood close to the surface, which could help release heat or soak up warmth, depending on conditions. Either way, the plates turn the body into a billboard.
They give the animal presence even at rest. There is also the idea of identity. Plates vary in shape and arrangement, so they may have helped individuals and species recognize one another. The plates are not just decoration, they're a message written in bone. Triceratops used horns for combat, defense, and social rank. 3 horns and a broad frill look like pure weaponry, yet they may have spoken to more than survival. Horns can deter predators, and a charging herbivore with a stabbing head is not an easy meal. Yet horns are also common tools in social life. In living animals, headgear often settles arguments over mates and status, and it can do that without killing. Fossil skulls sometimes show healed damage, which suggests these animals survived hard impacts and kept living. That hints at a world where clashes happened and where strength and courage mattered. The frill adds another layer. It protects the neck, and it also creates a larger silhouette that could impress rivals and attract partners. Imagine a tense standoff, dust in the air, 2 giants measuring each other with small head movements before the charge. Horns are not only about violence, they're also about negotiation, display, and the constant shaping of social power. Hadrosaurs wore crests that acted like musical instruments. Some duck-billed dinosaurs carried head crests with hollow passages inside, and those passages could have shaped sound, like the tubing of an instrument. That idea is thrilling because it turns a skull into a voice box for long-distance communication. In a wide landscape, sound can travel farther than sight, especially when herds spread out while feeding. A distinctive call could help individuals stay connected, warn of danger, or signal readiness to gather. It could also help youngsters find adults, which matters when the world is crowded and confusing. The crest becomes more than ornament, it becomes a tool for belonging. Different shapes could make different tones, which could allow species recognition in places where multiple herds overlap. When you imagine a hadrosaur calling across a floodplain, you are not just hearing noise, you are hearing a social system at work, tuned by evolution and carried on the wind. Parasaurolophus may have honked low notes through its crest.
This dinosaur's crest was long, curved, and hollow, and it invites the mind to wonder what it sounded like when air moved through it. A low call is especially useful because deep tones can travel through forests and over uneven ground with less loss. If Parasaurolophus lived in groups, a low honk could help coordinate movement, keep a herd together, or announce alarm without needing constant visual contact. It might even have carried individual signatures like voices do in many animals today. The crest also made the head instantly recognizable, which helps in a busy world where quick decisions matter. Even the act of calling can shape behavior. When one animal calls, others respond, and a scattered group becomes a coordinated unit. That coordination is survival. It reduces panic, limits separation, and helps the herd act like one organism. A crest that can shape sound turns anatomy into community. Pachysaurs had domed skulls built for head impacts. A thick, rounded skull looks like an invitation to collide, and many people imagine these dinosaurs charging like living battering rams. The truth may be more nuanced, and that makes it even more interesting. A dome could be used for direct impacts, yet it could also support shoving contests where force and balance matter as much as speed. Even the act of calling can shape behavior. When one animal calls, others respond, and a scattered group becomes a coordinated unit. That coordination is survival. It reduces panic, limits separation, and helps the herd act like one organism. A crest that can shape sound turns anatomy into community. Pachysaurs had domed skulls built for head impacts. A thick, rounded skull looks like an invitation to collide,
and many people imagine these dinosaurs charging like living battering rams. The truth may be more nuanced, and that makes it even more interesting. A dome could be used for direct impacts, yet it could also support shoving contests where force and balance matter as much as speed. Even the act of calling can shape behavior. When one animal calls, others respond, and a scattered group becomes a coordinated unit. That coordination is survival. It reduces panic, limits separation, and helps the herd act like one organism. A crest that can shape sound turns anatomy into community. Pachysaurs had domed skulls built for head impacts. A thick, rounded skull looks like an invitation to collide, and many people imagine these dinosaurs charging like living battering rams. The truth may be more nuanced, and that makes it even more interesting. A dome could be used for direct impacts, yet it could also support shoving contests where force and balance matter as much as speed. Even the act of calling can shape behavior. When one animal calls, others respond, and a scattered group becomes a coordinated unit. That coordination is survival. It reduces panic, limits separation, and helps the herd act like one organism. A crest that can shape sound turns anatomy into community. Spinosaurus was shaped for water with a paddle-like tail. When you hear dinosaur, you may picture land. Spinosaurus pushes against that assumption. Evidence suggests a body adapted for a life that included water, with features that hint at swimming and fishing. The tail is especially striking, shaped in a way that could push against water more effectively than a typical theropod tail. That changes the entire hunting scene. Instead of only chasing prey across open ground, imagine a predator working river edges and channels, lunging at fish or ambushing animals that come to drink. A watery lifestyle also affects movement, balance, and even where fossils are found, since river systems can bury bodies in ways that preserve clues. Spinosaurs reminds us that dinosaurs were not confined to one style of living. Evolution explores opportunities, and water is a vast opportunity. A dinosaur that leans into that world becomes a bridge between crocodile-like hunting and the classic theropod silhouette, and it makes the ancient landscape feel richer. Some theropods had sickle claws for gripping struggling prey. A curved claw is not just sharp, it is a hook made to hold on when something fights back. In certain theropods, the enlarged claw on the foot could help pin prey in place while the jaws delivered the killing bite. That suggests a hunting style that is close and intense, not a clean bite from a distance. The claw also hints at balance and coordination, because using a foot as a weapon means controlling your own center of gravity while your target twists and kicks. This is where anatomy becomes choreography. Strong legs, flexible joints, and fast reactions all matter in the same heartbeat. The sickle claw may also have been used for climbing or scrambling over uneven ground, which would make the hunter more versatile. When you imagine the moment of contact, you can feel the precision. A well-placed claw can turn chaos into control, and control is what predators live for. Raptors used their tails as stiff balancing poles. A raptor tail was not a floppy extension. It was reinforced so it could act like a counterbalance during fast turns, leaps, and sudden stops. Think of a tightwalker using a pole to stay stable. The tail plays a similar role, keeping the body from tipping when the animal changes direction at speed. That ability would matter in dense habitats where prey can vanish behind trees and rocks in an instant. It also matters during jumps because landing poorly can end a hunt or break a bone. A stiff tail helps the whole body behave like a coordinated system, with the head, torso, and legs moving in a controlled line. This is part of why raptors feel so alive in the imagination. Their bodies read like athlete bodies. Every part serves motion, and motion serves survival. The tail is a quiet hero in that design. turning a hunter into something that can pivot like a thought.
Many dinosaurs traveled in groups, leaving parallel trackways behind. When a soft plain or a river edge captured many sets of prints moving together, it left a clue about social life. Parallel trackways suggest animals choosing to stay close rather than scattering. That choice can bring real advantages. A group can spot danger earlier because more eyes notice motion at the edge of vision. It can also protect the smallest members because a predator has to commit to a risky approach. Herd movement can even help find food, since many animals can remember routes and water sources across a wide territory. Trackways sometimes include mixed sizes, which hints at families, not just crowds. And there's something else. Moving together is a form of communication. It requires pacing, awareness, and a shared direction. A line of prints becomes more than travel. It becomes a living decision, repeated step by step across a landscape that has been silent for millions of years. Trackways can show speed, stride length, and sudden turns. A set of footprints can act like a slow-motion recording of movement. The distance between steps suggests how long a stride was. The depth and shape can hint at how forceful each step might have been. When the pattern curves sharply, you can sense a body pivoting, not drifting. That matters because turning quickly is hard for heavy animals. A sharp turn suggests coordination and control, not just momentum. In some cases, the tracks tighten and then lengthen, which can suggest an animal accelerating from a walk into a run. Even the direction of toe marks can imply how the foot pushed off the ground. None of this is guesswork alone. Researchers compare these traces with what living animals leave today, then apply physics to keep the story honest. A trackway becomes a performance, and the performer is an animal that once moved with intent. Some tracks show limping, an injury preserved in stone. Every so often, a trackway includes a strange rhythm. One step is shorter, or it lands at an odd angle, or it carries less weight. When that pattern repeats, it can suggest an animal coping with pain. The remarkable part is what it implies about survival. An injured dinosaur that kept moving long enough to leave a trail was not instantly finished. It endured, it adapted. It may have slowed down, chosen safer ground, or stayed closer to others. The stone holds a moment of vulnerability that bones do not always show. You can almost imagine the calculation behind each step. Do I keep going? Do I rest? Do I risk the open path? An injury trackway can also hint at a dangerous encounter that happened earlier, then left no other trace. The predator is gone. The struggle is gone. What remains is the stubborn evidence of a life continuing, one uneven footprint at a time. Fossil dung called coprolite reveals meals in detail. It is not glamorous, yet it can be one of the most honest fossils. Coprolite is a direct snapshot of what an animal processed, not what someone guessed it ate. Under careful study, it can contain recognizable fragments, and those fragments can point to specific habits. A carnivore coprolite might include crushed bone that suggests powerful digestion. An herbivore coprolite might preserve plant material that shows what was available and what was chosen. In some cases, the shape and size can even hint at the producer's body size, which helps match dung to likely animals in the same deposit. Coprolites also tell a wider story about ecosystems because they preserve who was eating whom and who was eating what. This is evidence from the inside out, and it is wonderfully difficult to argue with. Even the messiest fossil can become a treasure map of ancient life. Coprolites can contain scales, bone fragments, and plant fibers. When you look closely at a coprolite, you sometimes find a jumbled library of leftovers. Fish scales can survive digestion well enough to be identified, which can point to hunting near water. Bone fragments can show a feeder that did not waste much, and that could mean scavenging as well as active hunting. Plant fibers can reveal tough meals, and they can hint at how an herbivore's gut handled its food. These details matter because they bring specificity. A dinosaur diet becomes more than a label like predator or grazer. It becomes a list of real materials that passed through a real body.
Coprolite contents can also reveal surprises, like mixed diets in places where you might not expect them. Each fragment is a clue that once belonged to something living, then was swallowed, broken down, and finally preserved. It is an intimate fossil.
It captures not a skeleton, but a daily routine. Dinosaur stomach stones helped grind tough plants into pulp. Some dinosaurs likely carried a stone toolkit inside their bodies. These swallowed stones, often called gastroliths, could sit in the stomach and help break down fibrous food through constant churning. It is a clever solution for animals that did not rely on complex chewing. Instead of grinding with teeth, they ground with motion. Over time, stones can become smooth and polished, which fits the idea of repeated rubbing inside a muscular gut. Finding gastroliths near a skeleton can be tricky because stones can shift after death. Still, when the evidence lines up, it suggests a digestive strategy that is both simple and effective. It also reminds you that feeding is not only about mouth parts, it is about the whole system that turns plants into energy. A dinosaur could swallow leaves quickly, then let its internal mill do the slow work. That makes long feeding sessions more efficient, and it helps explain how big herbivores could thrive. Some herbivores swallowed grit, then used it like teeth. In habitats where vegetation is abrasive or where food is coated with dust, swallowing grit can become a practical choice. The grit acts as an internal grinding surface, helping shred plant material that would otherwise pass through too intact. This is a strategy seen in living animals, and it makes sense for dinosaurs with simple teeth. The idea is not that grit replaces teeth completely. It supports them, and it takes over some of the heavy work. That can widen the menu. Tough stems and coarse leaves become more usable, and that can matter when seasons change and the best food is scarce. It also creates an interesting trade-off. Swallowing grit might help digestion, yet it could also wear down the stomach lining if it were not well adapted. Evolution tends to keep what pays off, so grit swallowing hints at bodies built to handle it. It's an earthy detail, and it makes dinosaur feeding feel practical and real. Long necks let sauropods browse wide areas with little movement. A long neck is not only about reaching high, it can also be about reaching far. With a sweeping neck, a sauropod could feed across a broad arc without shifting its whole body. That reduces the cost of locomotion when you're carrying immense mass. It also lets an animal stay in a safer stance while it eats, rather than constantly stepping into new positions over a day. That kind of efficiency adds up. A long neck can also help in crowded feeding grounds. Instead of competing shoulder to shoulder, animals can access different patches of foliage from the same spot. Of course, a long neck brings challenges too. Blood must reach the head, and muscles must control that length with precision. The fact that sauropods some of those challenges is part of their wonder. Their bodies suggest calm power and a lifestyle built around turning a landscape into food through patience and reach. Some herbivores may have fermented food in huge guts. Many plants are hard to digest, especially when they're full of cellulose. One way to unlock that energy is fermentation. In living animals, microbes break down tough plant matter inside a warm gut, releasing nutrients over time. Large herbivorous dinosaurs may have benefited from a similar process, especially those with enormous torsos that could hold a long digestive tract. Fermentation changes the rhythm of life. You can eat quickly, then extract calories slowly, which suits an animal that must spend much of its day feeding. It also means that body heat and internal chemistry become part of the digestive machine. A big gut is not just storage, it's a living ecosystem of microbes working in darkness. This idea also helps explain how herbivores could thrive on plants that seem low in nutrition.
They were not simply swallowing leaves, they were running a biological refinery inside their bodies, converting tough greenery into strength over time. Dinosaurs shaped ecosystems, like elephants shaping savannas today. When very large animals move through a landscape, they do more than exist in it, they change it. Herds can trample paths that become routes for other creatures. Feeding can open clearings, which changes sunlight on the ground and shifts which plants can grow. Predators influence where herbivores dare to graze, which can create safer zones and risky zones that ripple through the food web. Even nests and burrows can alter soil and water flow on a small scale. Dinosaurs lived long enough and in great enough numbers to become architects of their environments. This matters because it reframes fossils. A dinosaur is not just an animal in isolation, it's a force that reshapes the living community around it.
When you imagine a dinosaur world, try imagining the landscape responding, not just hosting. Vegetation patterns, animal movement, and daily survival would all have been molded by dinosaur behavior. Their presence would have been felt everywhere, even by creatures that never saw them. Dinosaurs lived through dramatic climate swings and shifting seas. Their world did not stay still. Warm periods spread lush vegetation across wide regions. Then cooler or drier phases tightened resources and changed which plants could survive. Sea levels also rose and fell, flooding lowlands, carving new coastlines, and turning broad areas into shallow inland seas. That meant dinosaur habitats could shrink, split, and reconnect, sometimes within the span of evolutionary change. A population that once roamed a continuous plain might later be separated by water and wetlands, then meet again when the sea retreated. These shaped where dinosaurs lived, what they ate, and how they moved. It also shaped what fossil beds we find today, because marine sediments and river deposits record different chapters. When you picture dinosaurs, try picturing a world that keeps rearranging the stage around them. Survival meant flexibility, and the fossils suggest they had it. Continental drift changed their world map while they evolved. During the dinosaur era, the continents were slowly on the move, and that motion rewired biology. Land connections that once allowed migration could narrow into bottlenecks, then break into separate worlds. Isolation is a powerful engine for new species because separated populations face different pressures, different competitors, and different opportunities. Over a long time, coastlines shift, mountain ranges rise, and new corridors open between regions that were once divided. That means dinosaur evolution was happening on a planet that kept redrawing its borders. It also explains why related dinosaurs can appear on different continents and why some regions produce their own distinctive lineages. Drift is slow, yet its impact is relentless. It changes rainfall patterns, ocean currents, and climate zones, which then changes the plants, which then changes everything that eats them. In the background of every dinosaur life, the ground itself was making decisions. Fossils and deserts can come from ancient wetlands. It feels like a trick until you remember that landscapes are temporary. A place that is bone dry today could once have been a river plain with oxbow lakes, reeds, and muddy banks. Wetlands are excellent at burying remains because floods can cover bodies quickly and fine sediment can seal them away from scavengers. Over millions of years, that wet world can be lifted, drained, and eroded into desert, leaving fossils where no water seems possible. This is why a skeleton found among sand dunes might tell a story of fish, turtles, and dense vegetation. It is also why paleontologists read rocks like diaries. They look for ripple marks, mud cracks, and mineral clues that whisper what the environment used to be. A desert fossil site can be the ghost of a vanished marsh, preserved under a sun that arrived much later. Antarctica once held forests, and dinosaurs walked among them. It is hard to imagine, yet the evidence points to a greener Antarctica in parts of the dinosaur age. Fossil plants from southern polar regions show forests that could support complex food webs, not a frozen wasteland. In that setting, dinosaurs would have moved beneath trees and across soft ground, living in a place that challenges our instincts about where large animals belong. The strangeness is part of the wonder. Antarctica is not only a symbol of ice, it is also a reminder that Earth's deep past can flip familiar expectations. For dinosaurs, a southern forest would have offered shelter, nesting sites, and seasonal food, while also demanding resilience when light and temperature shifted. Even without imagining snow, the idea of a dinosaur in an Antarctic forest feels like discovering a secret room in a house you thought you knew. It expands the map of their lives in a single powerful stroke. Some dinosaurs endured long polar nights with months of darkness.
Living at high latitudes means the sun can disappear for long stretches, and that changes everything about daily life. Darkness complicates finding food, watching for predators, and navigating a landscape that still has hazards underfoot. A dinosaur that stayed through polar night would need strategies, whether that meant storing energy, changing diet, relying on group vigilance, or timing reproduction to the brighter season.
Even the senses might matter more, since sound and smell can become more reliable than sight in prolonged darkness. The polar night also invites a question about behavior. Did some dinosaurs migrate before winter, or did they tough it out like modern animals in high-latitude environments? Fossil evidence from these regions suggests dinosaurs were present, and the challenge of darkness gives that presence real drama. It turns survival into a seasonal story with high stakes written in the rhythm of the planet's tilt. Bone chemistry can hint at ancient body temperatures. In some cases, the minerals in fossil bones and teeth preserve chemical patterns that can be used as indirect thermometers. The idea is subtle but thrilling. The way certain isotopes or mineral structures form can reflect temperature conditions during life, which means the skeleton can carry traces of the body's internal heat. That matters because temperature is tied to activity. It affects endurance, growth, and how an animal handles cold nights or long journeys. These chemical approaches are careful science because fossils can change after burial, and researchers must test for that. When the signals hold, they add a new dimension to dinosaur biology. Instead of only asking what a dinosaur looked like, we can ask how it ran its body. Was it closer to a reptile that warms up slowly, or closer to an animal that stays ready for action? Chemistry does not give a perfect answer every time, yet it pushes the story beyond bones into living physiology. Many dinosaurs likely had high metabolisms compared with reptiles. A higher metabolism is like running a brighter engine. It supports sustained activity, faster growth, and quicker recovery after effort. Several lines of evidence point in that direction for many dinosaurs, including bone structure that suggests active lives and the close relationship between birds and certain dinosaur groups. A high metabolism also fits the idea of dinosaurs thriving in diverse environments, from warm lands to cooler regions, where sluggishness would be costly. It changes how you picture a dinosaur's day. Instead of waiting for sun to warm the body, an active animal can forage earlier, travel farther, and respond faster to danger. It can also feed more often because energy demands rise. That creates a different kind of ecosystem, one where movement and competition can be intense. Not every dinosaur would have been the same, and that variety is important. Still, the overall picture is of animals more dynamic than the old stereotype of slow, sleepy giants. The rise of flowering plants changed dinosaur diets over time. Flowering plants brought new flavors, new textures, and new seasonal patterns into dinosaur habitats. As these plants spread, they introduced fruits, seeds, and leaves with different chemistry than older plant groups. That could reward animals that could process new foods, and it could reshape what was abundant across landscapes. Some herbivores may have found new feeding opportunities in low-growing flowering plants, while others continued to browse on older vegetation. This botanical change also affects the whole food web, because when plants change, the animals that depend on them must adapt, move, or disappear. It is not a sudden switch, and it did not happen everywhere at the same pace. That slow spread makes it even more fascinating, because dinosaurs were living through a quiet revolution beneath their feet. The world was offering new meals, and evolution was deciding who could take advantage. In that way, plants helped shape dinosaur diversity as surely as teeth and claws did. Insects and dinosaurs coexisted, with pollination beginning to spread. A dinosaur landscape was full of small lives doing important work. Insects were everywhere, chewing leaves, boring into wood, and carrying pollen as they moved between plants. Pollination is a subtle force, yet it can transform ecosystems by helping plants reproduce more efficiently and spread into new areas. That change then feeds back into the lives of larger animals because plant variety influences where herbivores can thrive. Dinosaurs may not have cared about pollination directly, yet their world depended on it. Like a hidden system of gears turning beneath the obvious drama, insects also provided food for smaller dinosaurs and early birds, creating lively chains of predation and escape in the undergrowth. This is part of what makes the dinosaur era feel real. It was not only giants on open plains, it was buzzing, crawling complexity, with tiny creatures shaping the plants that shaped everything else. Fires and storms shaped habitats just as they do now. Wildfire can clear old growth, release nutrients into soil, and open space for new plants to surge. Storms can flatten forests, reroute rivers, and deposit fresh layers of sediment that later preserve fossils. In the dinosaur era, these disturbances would have been regular, and dinosaurs would have adapted to them. After a fire, new shoots and young plants can appear, and that can attract herbivores. After floods, carcasses and tracks can be buried, turning a chaotic event into a gift for paleontology millions of years later. Storm seasons could have influenced migration, nesting choices, and where herds chose to gather. The point is that dinosaur habitats were not static postcards. They were living systems with sudden resets, and those resets created both danger and opportunity. When you imagine a thunderstorm breaking over a dinosaur plain, you are imagining a force that can shape evolution, one destroyed forest and one new riverbank at a time. Dinosaur brains were often small, but brains are not everything. A small brain does not mean a simple life. It means the brain was built for the problems that mattered most. Many dinosaurs needed reliable balance, strong instincts, and fast reactions more than clever tricks. Think about a herd animal that must read danger instantly, then move at the right moment, or a hunter that must judge distance, timing, and footing in a single leap. Those jobs can be handled by specialized circuits, not by a huge brain. Living animals show this too. A crocodile can be efficient and deadly with a brain that is not large for its body. Dinosaurs could survive because their senses, muscles, and reflexes work together as a system. Intelligence also comes in flavors. Some animals are built for planning, others for precision. A dinosaur brain can look small, yet still run a life filled with choices, rivals, and constant pressure. Some had enlarged regions for balance, supporting agile movement. Balance is a hidden superpower. If an animal can keep its head steady while its body moves, it can run faster, turn tighter, and react sooner. In dinosaurs, parts of the brain linked to coordination could be relatively developed, especially in animals that relied on quick motion. Picture a fast predator cutting across uneven ground or a feathered runner weaving through trees. Every step sends shocks of the skeleton, and the brain must keep vision stable while the body bounces. That is not optional, it is survival. Better balance also helps with jumps, climbs, and sudden pivots when prey tries to escape. It can even help during social displays, since many displays involve rapid head and body movements that must stay controlled. When scientists infer strong balance abilities, they are seeing an animal designed for athletic motion. It makes dinosaurs feel less like statues and more like living performers who could move with confidence. Big eyes hint at night hunting or dim forest life. Eyes are expensive to build and maintain, so evolution rarely enlarges them without reason. Large eyes can gather more light, which helps in twilight, under thick canopies, or during night activity. That possibility changes the scene. Imagine a predator moving when the heat drops, when prey is less alert, and when shadows hide approach. Or imagine a small dinosaur living in dense woodland where sunlight arrives in brief flashes. Big eyes can also improve detail vision, which matters when you need to judge distance for a strike or a leap. Eye shape and skull structure can hint at how those eyes faced, and that can suggest whether an animal relied on forward-focused depth perception or wide awareness. However it played out, large eyes tell you these dinosaurs were not limited to bright midday. They may have owned the hours we usually forget. Inner ear canals reveal how well they sensed head motion. Deep inside the skull, the inner ear helps an animal know where its head is in space. It detects turns, tilts, and acceleration, and it feeds that information to the brain so the body can stay upright. The shape of these canals, preserved in fossil skulls, can hint at how sensitive that system was. A more responsive system supports quicker head movements without losing balance. That matters for an animal that must track prey, avoid obstacles, or snap its jaws at the right instant. It also matters for animals that live in complex terrain where footing changes from step to step. When researchers model the inner ear, they are reading an invisible feature that controlled every visible action. It is like learning how good a dancer's sense of balance was from the structure of their inner body. That makes fossils feel less like remains and more like blueprints for motion. Some dinosaurs may have heard low sounds that travel far.
Low-frequency sound can carry across distance, around obstacles, and through dense vegetation better than high-pitched calls. If some dinosaurs were tuned to hear those deep notes, it suggests communication that could stretch across valleys, forests, or open plains. Low sounds also suit large bodies, since bigger vocal structures tend to produce deeper tones. Hearing them could help maintain contact in a herd, locate mates, or sense the approach of other large animals. It could also work as an early warning system. A distant rumble, a low boom, or a deep call could signal movement long before anything appears.
That kind of soundscape would make the dinosaur world feel different from ours. It would be less about chirps and more about throats that you feel in your chest. The idea is haunting in the best way. Dinosaurs might have lived inside the world of deep voices, carrying messages through the ground and air. Herd calls could coordinate travel across open floodplains. A moving group has to solve a problem that a lone animal never faces. It must keep together while still feeding, watching for danger, and navigating obstacles. Calls can knit a scattered herd into a single coordinated unit. Short signals could say, "Follow me." Longer calls could say, "Danger nearby." Repeated contact sounds could keep young animals within range, especially when tall plants and dust reduce visibility. A flood lane is a place where this would matter, because it can be broad, open, and exposed. If a predator appears, hesitation can split a group, and split groups lose the protection of numbers. Communication can prevent that. It can reduce panic and guide movement towards safer ground. You can imagine a leader animal calling, others answering, and the herd shifting direction like a tide. These calls would be the glue of social life, and they would turn travel into a shared act of survival. Display crests and horns likely helped identify individuals. In a busy world, recognition matters. If you cannot quickly tell friend from rival or adult from juvenile, you waste energy and take risks you do not need. Crests, horns, and other head shapes can act like visual signatures, visible from a distance and useful in crowded groups. They can also help prevent dangerous mix-ups between similar species living in the same region. Beyond species recognition, unique variations could help identify particular individuals, which supports stable social relationships over time. In modern animals, distinctive faces and markings reduce conflict, because animals learn who is dominant, who is a mate, and who is family. Dinosaurs likely faced similar pressures. A dramatic head shape can also advertise maturity. It can say, "I am grown, and I belong in the adult world." These features were not only for fighting. They may have been for keeping order, maintaining bonds, and making society run smoothly. Fossil injuries show survivors, proving toughness and healing. Some dinosaur bones carry scars of old damage that healed during life. You might see a fracture that knit back together, or a bite mark that shows new bone growth around it. That healing takes time, which means the animal lived on after the injury. It found food, avoided threats, and kept moving while its body repaired itself. This evidence adds grit to the story. Dinosaurs were not always winners in clean battles. They were often battered survivors in a dangerous world. Healing also hints at behavior. An injured animal might have relied on a group for protection, or it might have changed its hunting strategy to avoid risk. Even for a solitary animal, survival after injury suggests resilience and adaptability. The fossil record often feels like a gallery of endings, yet healed injuries are proof of continuation. They are reminders that dinosaurs endured pain, recovered, and returned to life long before they returned to stone. Healed bite marks can reveal predator attacks that failed. When you find healed tooth damage on a bone, you are seeing the echo of a violent moment. A predator clamped down, the prey escaped, and then the wound slowly closed. That story is powerful because it shows hunting was not guaranteed. It involved risk on both sides. A predator that misses may waste energy or get injured. A prey animal that escapes carries the cost for weeks or months while healing. Bite marks can also hint at where attacks happened, since predators often target specific body parts. Damage on a tail or flank can suggest a chase and a snap from behind. Damage on the head or neck can suggest close combat. These clues can turn fossils into scenes. There was movement, contact, and a narrow margin between life and death. The most fascinating part is the survival. The animal did not just endure the bite.
It lived long enough for the bone to rebuild, leaving a permanent record of escape. Some fossils preserve tumors, showing disease is ancient. Disease is not a modern invention. It is part of life, and it has been part of life for a very long time. In rare cases, dinosaur bones show abnormal growths that match tumors seen in living animals. That discovery is sobering and strangely intimate because it reminds us that dinosaurs faced more than predators and hunger. They also faced internal battles. A tumor can weaken bone, cause pain, and limit movement, which can make an animal more vulnerable. Finding such evidence also shows how careful modern analysis has become. Researchers can compare the shape of the growth, the way it affects surrounding bone, and the patterns seen in known diseases today. When the match is convincing, it expands the dinosaur story into everyday biology. Dinosaurs were not mythical beasts. They were animals with bodies that could break, heal, and sometimes malfunction. Even illness has a fossil record, and that makes the past feel more real.
Rare fossils capture soft tissues, including muscle outlines and skin. Most of the time, only bone makes it through deep time. Soft tissue usually vanishes fast, eaten by microbes and torn apart by scavengers. Yet in rare, perfect circumstances, nature seals an animal away so quickly that even delicate details survive as thin films or impressions. That is how we sometimes see the curve of a muscle, the texture of skin, or the edge of a feather outline with startling clarity. These fossils feel less like bones in a cabinet and more like a paused moment in a life. They also change scientific questions. Instead of asking only how a skeleton fit together, researchers can ask how the body looked from the outside, where it flexed, and how it carried weight in motion. It is like finding the missing layer between anatomy and life. A rare soft tissue fossil can make a dinosaur suddenly feel present. Some dinosaurs are preserved in volcanic ash, frozen in time. Volcanic ash can fall like a heavy gray blizzard, and it can bury a landscape in hours. If animals are caught in that sudden flood of fine particles, the ash can seal them away from oxygen and scavengers. Later, the ash can harden into rock that keeps details astonishingly crisp. This kind of burial can preserve a dinosaur as a three-dimensional presence, not just scattered bones. It can also capture a wider scene because ash can blanket plants, tracks, and smaller animals in the same layer. That gives paleontologists a snapshot of a whole community at once. There is something eerie about it. A thriving place becomes silent in a single day, then waits for millions of years. When scientists uncover these sites, they are not only finding a dinosaur, they are opening a window onto a particular morning, a particular season, and a particular landscape, all locked under the weight of ancient ash. Amber can trap feathers, insects, and forest air from long ago. Amber begins as sticky tree resin. When it oozes down bark, it can catch whatever brushes against it, then harden like a natural time capsule. Tiny feathers can be preserved with delicate barbs still visible. Insects can be captured mid-step, complete with wings, legs, and even fine hairs. Sometimes plant fragments cling to the resin, hinting at what grew in that forest. Amber is thrilling because it preserves the small world that bones often miss. It lets us glimpse the texture of dinosaur ecosystems from the ground up. A feather in amber can suggest what kind of covering existed, how it was structured, and how it might have felt to the touch. It is also a reminder that dinosaurs lived in busy, crowded places full of minute life. Amber does not just preserve objects, it preserves atmosphere, almost like holding a breath from an ancient woodland. Fossil feathers can show microscopic pigment bodies called melanosomes. Color seems like it should be lost forever, yet feathers sometimes preserve tiny structures linked to pigmentation. Under powerful microscopes, scientists can find microscopic shapes that resemble melanosomes, which are pigment-bearing bodies in modern birds. The shape and arrangement of these structures can hint at what kind of pigment was present. This does not give perfect certainty for every specimen, and it demands careful comparison with living birds. Still, when the evidence is strong, it is astonishing. A fossil stops being only form and function. It gains a sense of appearance, and appearance matters in life. Color can influence who is noticed, who is ignored, and who is trusted or feared. It can shape social behavior in ways bones cannot show.
When researchers study fossil feathers at this scale, they are doing something almost magical. They are reading a visual signal from deep time, using structures smaller than dust. Those pigments can suggest colors from blacks to rusty reds. When pigment structures are preserved well enough, researchers can sometimes infer a limited palette, often involving dark shades and warm, earthy tones. That matters because it takes dinosaurs out of the gray fog of imagination and puts them back into biology. Dark colors can be useful for hiding in shade, for absorbing warmth, or for creating bold contrasts that catch attention. Reddish and brown tones can blend with soil, leaf litter, and bark, which makes them practical in forests and floodplains. These color hints also support the idea that dinosaur appearance was shaped by ordinary pressures, not fantasy. They likely needed camouflage at times, and they likely needed signals at other times. The exciting part is that color becomes testable. It becomes something you can argue with evidence, not just with art. A suggested black feather or a rusty patch does not only decorate a dinosaur, it changes how you picture its daily choices, its rivals, and its world. Fossil eggs can preserve embryos curled and nearly ready to hatch. An intact egg already feels miraculous,
An egg that still holds an embryo feels like the past speaking in a whisper. In some rare fossils, embryos are preserved in curled positions inside the shell, with tiny bones arranged as if they were preparing for birth. This gives scientists direct clues about development, growth stages, and how young dinosaurs were positioned before hatching. It can also help link eggs to specific dinosaur groups, which is usually difficult when shells are found alone. Embryo fossils invite a deeply human feeling too. They remind us that dinosaurs began as vulnerable young, developing quietly in darkness while danger moved outside the nest. They also show that the story of dinosaurs is not only about adults. It includes beginnings, and those beginnings can be studied with surprising detail. When you imagine a fossil egg with an embryo inside, you are imagining a life interrupted at the edge of first breath, then carried forward by stone. A fossilized dinosaur brain case can preserve impressions of the brain. Brains do not fossilize easily, yet the inside of the skull can preserve clues about what once sat there. In some fossils, the brain case retains grooves and spaces that reflect the shape of the brain and its major features. Sometimes natural fills form an internal cast, capturing the layout of cavities and passages. These traces can hint at relative emphasis, like regions linked to smell, vision, or coordination. They are not a full map of thoughts. They are more like the outline of a room after the furniture is gone. Even so, that outline is powerful. It lets scientists compare different dinosaurs in a consistent way, and it can reveal surprising specializations. A brain case impression can suggest how an animal sensed its environment, how it held its head, and how it balanced during movement. It is one of the closest things we have to peeking inside a dinosaur's mind, using only stone and careful inference. Teeth can preserve chemical traces of water sources they drank. Teeth enamel forms in layers, and it can lock in chemical signals from an animal's body fluids during growth. Those signals are influenced by the water the animal drank, because local rainfall, rivers, and lakes can carry distinctive chemical signatures. By sampling enamel, researchers can sometimes compare those signatures to what is expected from different regions and environments. This opens a fascinating doorway. A tooth can hint at where an animal spent part of its life and whether it moved between areas with different water chemistry. It can even help distinguish locals from travelers in the same fossil site. This is a different kind of detective work than measuring bones. It is tracking movement to invisible fingerprints. The best part is that it turns water into evidence. A river is no longer just scenery in a reconstruction. It becomes a measurable influence on a dinosaur's body. In that way, a tooth can carry the memory of a landscape the skeleton no longer shows. Even a single bone can reveal age, growth, and lifestyle. It is tempting to think you need a full skeleton to learn anything meaningful, yet one bone can be surprisingly talkative. The thickness of the walls, the shape of the joints, and the scars where muscles once attached can hint at how an animal moved and where it carried stress. Under the surface, internal structure can reveal whether the bone was built for speed, for heavy support, or for a life that demanded strong leverage.
In some cases, the microstructure can suggest how quickly the animal was growing when it died, even where patterns can hint at repeated strain, like an athlete's body adapting to a particular routine. This is why paleontologists can sometimes identify a dinosaur from a fragment that looks unimpressive to everyone else. They are reading design choices, and design choices reflect daily life. A single bone can be a resume of motion, telling you whether the animal was built for sprinting, for steady travel, or for holding up a truly enormous body. New species are still found, sometimes from bones already in drawers. Not every discovery begins with a shovel. Museums and universities hold vast collections gathered over decades, and many specimens were collected before today's methods and comparisons existed. A bone might have been labeled broadly, then stored away until someone takes a fresh look. When researchers compare old specimens with newly found ones, subtle differences can suddenly matter. A ridge on a jaw, a curve in a claw, or a distinct joint surface can reveal that a specimen does not fit the known species. After all, modern imaging can also expose details that were impossible to study when the fossil was first prepared. This is one of the loveliest parts of science, because it means discovery is not only about finding new fossils, it is also about seeing existing fossils more clearly. A drawer can hold a forgotten animal, waiting for the right question. The dinosaur story keeps expanding, not only in the field, but in quiet rooms lined with cabinets. Some dinosaurs coexisted with the earliest mammals, small and hidden. While dinosaurs dominated daylight landscapes, early mammals lived in their shadows, literally and figuratively. These mammals were generally small, quick, and cautious, often active at night when large predators were less active.
Their survival strategy relied on secrecy rather than strength. They hid in burrows, fed on insects or plants, and reproduced quickly. This quiet coexistence lasted for millions of years, shaping mammal traits we still see today, such as keen hearing and sensitivity to smell. Dinosaurs and mammals were not locked in constant conflict. Instead, they occupied different layers of the same world, using different schedules and strategies to survive. The presence of dinosaurs may even have helped mammals refine their adaptability, because living under pressure rewards flexibility. This long period of overlap shows that the dinosaur age was not empty of our ancestors. It was the training ground that shaped them. The first true birds appeared while many dinosaurs still thrived. Birds did not arrive after dinosaurs vanished. They emerged during a time when dinosaurs were still diverse and successful. Early birds shared the skies and forests with feathered dinosaurs that could not yet fly, and with others that may have glided or fluttered short distances. This overlap creates a layered world where evolutionary experiments unfolded side by side. Flight was not an instant revolution. It developed gradually, with early birds refining wings, balance, and control. While dinosaurs continued to dominate the land, the presence of birds did not replace dinosaurs. It added complexity to ecosystems already rich with life. This timing matters because it reframes extinction. Birds were not a recovery, they were a continuation. Their story began long before catastrophe, growing quietly alongside their relatives, testing new possibilities while the old ones still ruled. Flight evolved more than once among feathered dinosaurs. Evolution rarely commits to a single attempt. When conditions allow, it experiments repeatedly. Among feathered dinosaurs, flight appears to have been one such experiment. Different groups show variations in wing shape, feather arrangement, and skeletal support that suggest multiple paths toward aerial movement. Some may have glided from trees. Others may have launched from the ground using powerful legs and feathered arms. These paths did not all lead to sustained flight, yet they show repeated pressure pushing bodies upward. Flight offers enormous advantages, including escape, access to food, and long-distance movement. It is no surprise that evolution tried more than once. Some attempts stalled, one succeeded spectacularly. This layered process makes flight feel less like a miracle and more like persistence. Dinosaurs were not waiting for birds to appear. They were actively exploring the air themselves. The boundary between bird and dinosaur is wonderfully blurry. When you line up fossils across time, the neat categories begin to dissolve.
Many animals, once called dinosaurs, show feathers, wings, and bird-like proportions. Some birds still carry teeth and clawed fingers. The distinction becomes less about what something is and more about where it sits on a long continuum. This blur is not a problem, it is evidence of evolution in motion. Nature does not draw hard lines, it modifies what already exists step by step. Each fossil that sits between categories tells us the transition was gradual, not sudden. The idea of birds as separate from dinosaurs fades when you see shared bones, behaviors, and growth patterns. Instead, birds become a specialized branch that kept evolving while others ended. The blur is beautiful because it shows how complex life really is. Clear labels are human conveniences. Living history is messier, richer, and far more interesting. Archaeopteryx shows feathers and wings, yet also teeth and claws. Few fossils capture imagination like Archaeopteryx because it seems to belong to two worlds at once. It carried flight-capable feathers and wings, yet its jaws held teeth, and its wings ended in clawed fingers. This mix tells a powerful story. Flight did not arrive fully formed. It emerged on a body still shaped by earlier needs. Archaeopteryx likely flew differently from modern birds, with less efficiency and more effort. It may have glided, flapped short distances, or relied on height to launch. Its anatomy shows compromise rather than perfection. That is exactly what you expect from an evolutionary transition. Each trait reflects a past function being adapted for a new one. Archaeopteryx is not important because it is the first bird. It is important because it shows how gradual change looks in bone and feather, frozen at a moment when two ways of life overlapped. Some dinosaurs had wing-like arms but could not fly. Feathered arms do not guarantee flight. In several dinosaurs, the arms were long, feathered, and mobile, yet not built for sustained lift. These structures may have helped with balance, display, or maneuvering during fast movement.
Feathered arms could also assist with controlled jumps, braking, or turning sharply while running. In social settings, they may have been used to appear larger or more impressive. The presence of wing-like limbs without true flight shows that feathers and arms evolved for many reasons before the sky became a destination. Flight was only one possible outcome, not the original goal. These dinosaurs remind us that anatomy often serves multiple roles at once. What later becomes a wing may begin as a stabilizer or signal. By exploring these half steps, evolution builds the foundation for dramatic change without committing too early. Many modern bird traits began on the ground, not in air. Before flight reshaped bodies, many bird-like traits already had value on land. Lightweight bones reduce effort during fast running. Feathers provide insulation and control body temperature. A fused skeleton improves balance and efficiency during movement. Even wing strokes may have helped animals sprint uphill or leap obstacles. Ground-living animals benefit from traits that later become essential for flight. This means birds were not born in the air. They earned it by refining abilities that already worked on solid ground. The ground stage matters because it explains why flight could evolve at all. The body was already prepared. When feathers grew larger and arms became stronger, the leap into air was not a sudden gamble. It was a small extension of existing skills. Understanding this makes flight feel grounded, practical, and inevitable rather than magical. Feathers helped with turning, jumping, and stable running. Feathers interact with air even when an animal stays on the ground. Spread feathers can create drag, lift, and subtle steering forces. For a fast runner, this can mean sharper turns without slipping. During jumps, feathers can slow descent and improve landing control. Even small adjustments can prevent injury and improve hunting success. These benefits explain why feathers would spread widely before flight ever appeared. They improve athletic performance in everyday life. A dinosaur with feathers could be more agile, more controlled, and more confident at speed. That advantage compounds over generations. Feathers are not only about flight, they are about precision. They let animals move through space with greater awareness and control. Long before wings lifted bodies into the sky, feathers were already shaping how dinosaurs ran, leapt, and survived on the ground. Bird lungs reflect an older dinosaur design built for endurance. Bird breathing is unlike mammal breathing.
Instead of moving air in and out of the same space, bird lungs allow air to flow in a single direction through a system of air sacs. This design delivers oxygen efficiently, even during constant activity. Evidence suggests this system has roots deep in dinosaur ancestry. Such breathing supports endurance, allowing sustained movement without rapid fatigue. That endurance would benefit long-distance travel, active hunting, and survival in demanding climates. It also helps regulate heat, which matters for active animals. When you hear a bird call while flying effortlessly, you are hearing a system perfected over millions of years. That system did not appear suddenly. It was inherited, refined, and passed on. Bird lungs are not a new invention. They are a legacy of dinosaurs built to keep moving. Every sparrow carries a tiny echo of the Mesozoic world. When a sparrow hops across a sidewalk, it brings deep time with it. Its skeleton, feathers, breathing, and behavior all trace back to dinosaurs that lived millions of years ago. This connection is not symbolic, it is literal. Birds did not replace dinosaurs, they are dinosaurs reshaped by survival and chance. That means the dinosaur story is not finished. It continues every time wings beat, nests are built, or calls ring out at dawn. The world we live in is still touched by that ancient lineage. Seeing birds this way changes perspective. The past is not gone, it is active, living, and common. Dinosaurs are not confined to museums or stone. They are outside your window carrying echoes of forests, floodplains, and long-vanished ages in every movement. The end of the dinosaur age also opened space for mammals. When the Great Extinction struck, it did not erase life, it reshuffled opportunity. Many dominant dinosaurs vanished, and with them went the pressures that had kept mammals small, hidden, and cautious. Suddenly, landscapes held empty roles, food sources were less contested, shelters were more available. Mammals that once survived in shadows could explore daylight, size, and new behaviors. This was not an overnight transformation. It unfolded across generations as mammals diversified into forms that had never been possible before. Some grew larger, some adapted to new diets, some developed more complex social lives. The extinction did not reward mammals for superiority, it rewarded them for persistence. They had already learned to survive under stress, and that skill mattered when the world changed. The end of the dinosaur age was also the beginning of a quieter story, one that eventually led to forests filled with mammals, and to us. Not all dinosaurs vanished, only the non-avian lineages did. Extinction is often spoken of as a clean ending. In reality, is more selective.
When the catastrophe arrived, some dinosaurs survived because they already fit a changing world. Small size, feathers, fast reproduction, and flexible diets mattered. Those survivors are what we now call birds. This reframes the idea of dinosaur extinction entirely. Dinosaurs did not disappear, they narrowed. One branch passed through the bottleneck and continued evolving. That survival tells us something important about chance and preparation. The traits that once helped dinosaurs live alongside larger relatives became lifelines when conditions collapsed. Birds are not replacements, they are continuations, carrying ancient anatomy forward into new forms. Every bird species alive today is evidence that extinction is not always an eraser, sometimes it is a filter. Understanding this changes how we think about survival. It is not always the biggest or strongest that endure, sometimes it is the adaptable. Fossils show ecosystems rebounding after extinctions again and again. Mass extinctions leave scars, yet the fossil record also shows recovery. After devastation, new communities slowly assemble. Plants return first, then herbivores, then predators. Each stage reshapes the environment, creating feedback that supports the next. This pattern repeats through deep time, which tells us resilience is built into life itself. The recoveries are not identical to what came before. They are different, often more experimental. As evolution explores open ground, fossils capture these transitions in layers, showing gaps, then bursts of diversity. Studying them helps scientists understand how long recovery takes, what traits flourish, and what conditions support renewal. These patterns matter beyond curiosity. They offered perspective on how life responds to crisis. The rocks remind us that collapse is not the final chapter, it is a turning point. Life reorganizes, adapts, and returns, even after events that seem absolute. Dinosaur discoveries often happen where rivers cut fresh cliff faces. Rivers are relentless editors of the landscape.
As they carve into rock, they expose layers that have been hidden for millions of years. A single flood can strip away soil and reveal bones that no one knew were there the day before. That is why many major fossil finds occur along riverbanks, canyons, and eroded badlands. The water does the first excavation, and careful human eyes do the rest. Timing matters. Visit too early, and the fossil is still buried. Visit too late, and it may have crumbled away. This makes paleontology part science, part patience, and part luck. Rivers also help explain fossil placement because they once buried animals in sediment during floods. The same force that preserved them can later reveal them. It is a beautiful cycle. Water hides the past, then slowly gives it back. Satellites now help spot fossil-bearing layers from above. Modern paleontology no longer relies only on boots and hammers. Satellites can scan landscapes for subtle differences in rock color, texture, and erosion patterns that hint at fossil-bearing layers. These tools allow scientists to narrow vast regions into promising targets before ever visiting the ground. This saves time, resources, and energy, and it opens areas that might otherwise be overlooked. Satellite data can also reveal ancient river channels and sediment fans that are known to preserve bones. Well, in effect, space technology is helping uncover life from deep time. This blend of ancient and modern feels poetic. Signals traveling from orbit guide researchers toward creatures that lived millions of years ago. It also shows how science evolves. New tools do not replace traditional methods, they sharpen them. A satellite image becomes the first step in a chain that ends with careful excavation, brushing dust from bone, and adding a new chapter to the dinosaur story. Three-dimensional printing lets scientists share bones without moving them. Fossils are fragile, heavy, and often irreplaceable. Transporting them risks damage, yet sharing them is essential for science. Three-dimensional printing offers a solution. High-resolution scans can capture every contour, then produce physical replicas that can be studied anywhere. Researchers across the world can examine the same specimen without the original ever leaving its home. Students can handle accurate models without fear. Museums can display copies while protecting originals. Printing also allows reconstruction. Missing pieces can be mirrored, scaled, or tested in ways real fossils cannot tolerate. This technology changes collaboration, knowledge travels faster, and access becomes broader. It also democratizes discovery, allowing smaller institutions to participate meaningfully. The original fossil remains safe while its information spreads. In a sense, printing gives fossils a second life, one made of resin and light, carrying ancient form into modern hands. Computer models can test how dinosaurs walked and ran. Bones show shape, but movement requires imagination guided by physics. Computer models bridge that gap. By inputting skeletal proportions, joint limits, and muscle estimates, scientists can simulate how dinosaurs may have walked, run, or turned. These models can test balance, speed, and energy use, revealing what motions are possible and which are unlikely. If a model collapses under its own weight, the posture is probably wrong. If it moves smoothly, the idea gains strength. This approach turns anatomy into motion and motion into evidence.
It also allows comparison across species, showing how different body plans solve the same problem. Running is not just about legs, it involves the whole body working together. Computer modeling makes that coordination visible. It replaces guesswork with constraints. Dinosaurs stop being frozen skeletons. They become moving systems tested against gravity, momentum, and the unforgiving rules of the physical world. The same rocks can hold tracks, bones, eggs, and nests together. Finding multiple kinds of evidence in one layer is like finding a diary instead of a single page. Tracks show movement, bones show bodies, eggs and nests show reproduction. When all appear together, they confirm that animals lived, moved, and raised young in the same place. This strengthens interpretations because behavior and anatomy support each other. A nesting site near trackways suggests regular use, not accident. Eggs near adult bones suggest care, not abandonment. These sites are rare because conditions must be just right to preserve everything. When they are found, they offer exceptional insight into daily life. They show that dinosaurs were not passing through randomly. They were using landscapes repeatedly and intentionally.
Such sites are among the most valuable in paleontology because they connect moments into patterns. They allow us to see dinosaurs not as isolated finds, but as participants in a living place. Dinosaurs teach deep time, reminding us life can dominate and vanish. Dinosaurs were not a brief experiment. They dominated land ecosystems for longer than humans have existed by orders of magnitude. Their success makes their disappearance sobering. It reminds us that dominance does not guarantee permanence. Conditions change, worlds shift, life responds. Deep time stretches perspective. It shows that extinction is not rare, and that survival depends on adaptability, not entitlement. Studying dinosaurs can feel humbling because it places human history into a much larger context. Civilizations rise and fall in moments compared to evolutionary ages. Yet, dinosaurs also teach hope. Life continues, reshapes, and fills new spaces. The lesson is not despair, it is awareness. Understanding deep time helps us see the present as temporary, precious, and influential. The past is not distant, it is a guide showing both the power and fragility of life on Earth. Every new fossil changes the story, and the story is still growing. No dinosaur narrative is final. Each fossil adds detail, challenges assumptions, or opens new questions. A single bone can redraw a family tree. A new site can overturn decades of thought. This constant revision is not a weakness, it is the strength of science. The dinosaur story grows because it is tested again and again against evidence. Old ideas are refined, not erased. New discoveries often come from unexpected places, including collections studied anew. That means the story is alive. It responds to curiosity, technology, and patience. There are still vast regions unexplored and countless fossils waiting beneath rock. Future discoveries may change how we understand behavior, appearance, or survival. The past is not finished speaking, it whispers through stone, waiting for attention. Every fossil is both an answer and an invitation, reminding us that wonder is not exhausted and that the ancient world still has more to say. As we come to the end of our journey, you can let the long story of dinosaurs begin to settle. We've wandered across immense spans of time, through forests that no longer stand, and plains reshaped by water and fire. We've met giants that shook the ground with each step, and small, quick lives that thrived in the margins. We've listened for echoes in bone and stone, learning how dinosaurs moved, fed, cared for their young, and adapted as the world around them kept changing. Through it all, there is a steady rhythm, life rising, spreading, experimenting, and sometimes fading, yet never truly ending. The age of dinosaurs feels distant, yet its traces are close, carried in feathers, in birdsong, and in the living world outside your window. Their story reminds us how fast time really is, and how small moments can still matter within it. If you're still awake and curious, there's another video waiting for you on the screen now, ready to carry you onward into another sleepy exploration. And if these calm journeys bring you comfort, you're always welcome to like, subscribe, or leave a quiet thought below so others can find their way here too. But for now, there's nothing else to do. Let the images soften and drift away. Allow your breathing to slow and your thoughts to loosen their grip. You've traveled far tonight, across millions of years, and it's perfectly fine to rest now. Sleep well